$1.5 million worth of diamonds at Cutter's wholesale level. If you were to try and carry $1.5 million worth of gold, you would have to have a carload to carry it away. This could be put into a small cigarette package.
Throughout the ages, diamonds have inspired poets and smugglers, gentlemen and thieves. The diamond is most precious of all gems, and may be the most dangerous to possess. For many diamonds are said to carry a curse. Among the world's diamonds, one is unique. Its color fantastically rare, its history so clouded, it may never be completely known. Around it grew a legend of tragedy and loss. It is the Hope, one of those few gems in the world feared as well as desired.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanations, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
There is on Earth a stone more brilliant than the sun, a symbol of love everlasting. An icy crystal holding the seeds of betrayal. The diamond is a paradox whose beauty veils a black heart. From the days of ancient sorcerers and mystics, when magic was a blend of trickery and alchemy, diamonds were considered the source of mysterious powers. Many believed that diamond dust could neutralize the strongest poison, guard against insanity, ward off evil spirits, and weave an unbreakable spell.
Diamonds were used from everything to cure colds to sterility.
Gem expert Robert
The interesting
Conrad.
fact is that in 1532, Pope Clement VII died from an overdose of diamonds. His doctors at that time subscribed him to take spoonfuls of diamond dust. After his 14th spoonful, he died.
Diamonds have often summoned tragedy, not good fortune. Is there such a thing as a diamond curse? Diamonds were first discovered in India, and there the greatest diamond curse might have been born. In the 17th century, a diamond merchant named Jean Tavernier heard tales of a legendary diamond of deep blue. The stories told of an ancient statue guarded by priests of the god Ramasita. It was said that whoever desecrated the sacred blue diamond would set an ancient curse in motion. Years later, Tavernier would be torn apart by wild dogs. The world's greatest blue diamond would come to be associated with kings. The French court at Versailles would be next to fall under its influence. King Louis XIV wore it as a symbol of the monarchy. He died from smallpox. Louis XVI wore it and lost his head in the French Revolution. 3 years after that revolution, the blue diamond was stolen in the most spectacular jewel theft in history. In Search of cameras recreate the story. Petty thieves discovered an open lock and slipped into a museum warehouse where the French crown jewels had been stored. They told friends about the gems they had found. Night after night, they were able to return unnoticed. Paris was still in social turmoil following the revolution. The loot consisted of every personal possession of Louis XVI and his queen. Everything. Statues, pictures, furs, as well as jewelry. By the 8th night, the hit-and-run raids had turned into a boisterous party, and the jewel theft became an act of revolutionary defiance. Outside, the people of France were cold and hungry, while inside the warehouse, the robbers celebrated with a beggar's banquet. By the time the theft was discovered, the burglars were long gone. Some of the jewels were later recovered, buried under a tree, but not the great blue diamond. Spain was believed to be the next stop on the diamond's journey. 7 years after the robbery, the artist Goya painted a portrait of the Spanish Queen Maria Luisa, wearing what may have been the French blue diamond. Soon afterwards, she was forced to abdicate and flee the country. In 1830, a 45-carat diamond of the same deep blue appeared in London. Henry Philip Hope purchased it for $90,000. Was this the missing stone from the French crown jewels, stolen from the forehead of an Indian idol? Curator of gems at the Smithsonian Institution, Paul Desautels.
There's no question in my mind that the Hope diamond, as we know it now, is what's left of the French blue. Now, I can't say that with any kind of proof, or certainty, because there is no proof in existence that we're aware of. However, there are too many coincidences involved.
Was the curse still operative? Henry Philip Hope died childless. The diamond passed on to his nephew, whose wife ran off with another man. The Hope fortune was dissipated, and the last of the Hopes died bankrupt. The blue diamond was put up for sale in 1901. According to legend, many others fell under its sinister influence. The Greek broker who bought it fell off a cliff and died. A Folies Bergère star wore the Hope. Her fate was sealed by a jealous lover. The next owner was a Turkish sultan whose reign was cut short by revolution. In 1910, Evelyn Walsh McLean purchased the Hope diamond. When told of the curse, Mrs. McLean replied that unlucky things always brought her good luck. A personal experience from Beatrice Burley-Myerson.
When I was a little girl, my father was Assistant Secretary of State, And one night, after going to dinner at the Mexican Embassy, we went on to a party at Evelyn Walsh McLean's. And Mrs. McLean came up to us and suggested that I might want to wear the Hope Diamond. I'd like to wear the Hope Diamond. I think she was trying to do something nice for a very small girl at her party. And so she put it around my neck, and I was very taken with the color of the diamond, and I just wore it for a few minutes. I'm sure she was not trying to curse me. I don't know what she felt about it for herself, but I know that she was a very unhappy woman.
Did Evelyn McLean believe the diamond she wore carried an evil curse?
Yes, she sincerely believed in the curse. As a matter of fact, Evelyn at one time took the Hope Diamond to St. Patrick's Church, a local church here, to have it exercised. And to please her, it was done.
Nevertheless, Mrs. McLean's life was plagued by tragedy. Shortly after she purchased the Hope, her young son was struck and killed by a speeding car. Mr. McLean was implicated in the Teapot Dome scandal. His business and personal life in ruins, Edward McLean died in a mental institution. In 1946, Mrs. McLean's daughter took her own life. Evelyn Walsh McLean died the following year. Mrs. McLean continued to wear the Hope until her death. In her autobiography are these words: "What happened to us all was just about as tragic as if each one, instead of only I, had worn a talisman of evil." An ancient curse from an angry god? For 3 centuries, the infamous blue diamond has left behind it a trail of tragedy. The Hope is not the only diamond associated with a curse. A fabulous necklace of diamonds cast a shadow of scandal and doubt on a royal house and may have helped trigger a revolution. The ancients believed that stars could fall from the skies and shine on Earth as diamonds. It is ironic that the rarest gem is forged from the most common element on Earth, carbon. Over millions of years, intense heat and pressure transform the carbon into a crystal, unique in all of nature. Paul Desautels.
One thing that makes a diamond different from anything that exists on the Earth is that it's hard. It is the hardest thing known. That transcends everything else that can be said of that diamond. And it's because of that that everything else has come about. The name diamond, by the way, means indestructible. And people thought they were, and they had special mystical significance. Diamonds were prized by the Mughal emperors and by very early potentates. They were not valued so much for themselves as for what they could do or what they represented.
In ancient India, one diamond symbolized power. It was the Kohinoor, cursed with a 600-year history of bloodshed. Legend held that whoever owned this diamond would rule the world. In 1739, a powerful Persian Shah conquered India and eagerly looked forward to possessing the Kohinoor. The defeated emperor kept his social position, for royalty was always royalty, regardless of a war's outcome. The conquering Persian Shah would uphold this royal code. Having been guaranteed personal safety, the emperor had hidden the diamond in his turban, believing its mysterious power would help him regain his throne. Meanwhile, the Shah had ransacked the city, searching for the Kohinoor. Unsuccessful, he convinced servants in the emperor's court to spy. The conqueror learned where the diamond was hidden, But he had to devise a plan that would not violate the emperor's royal status. With clever strategy, the Shah proposed a formal truce to the emperor and arranged a public ceremony. An exchange of turbans was a rarely used but traditional gesture of peace. The emperor realized he had been trapped, but he could not refuse. When the British annexed India, the Kohinoor would change hands for the last time, for it was to be set in the English crown jewels.
Throughout the ages, the lust for diamonds has inspired men and women to the most ruthless of acts. Indeed, it has been written that the history of diamonds is a chronicle of treachery and deceit. Can it be only coincidence that diamonds are so often associated with violence and evil? Perhaps, in the diamond's exquisite beauty, we see the dark reflection of our own designs.
Rarely have diamonds so greatly influenced the course of history as in the story of the Queen's necklace. Two jewelers to the French court of King Louis XVI designed a magnificent necklace of diamonds gathered from all around the world. Only a queen would wear such jewels, and only a king could afford them. The jewelers hoped King Louis would buy the diamond necklace for his queen, Marie Antoinette. Their timing was poor. France was in turmoil. Louis and Marie could not risk such extravagance. The diamond necklace caught the eye of the Queen's lady-in-waiting, the ambitious Countess Lamotte. What happened next set off a scandal that rocked France to its very foundation. The Countess had risen from poverty through her marriage to a wealthy count. Together, they hatched a plot to swindle the jewelers and take the necklace. The Countess would pretend that the Queen had instructed her to arrange a secret purchase of the necklace. She had no difficulty persuading the jewelers that she was acting on behalf of the Queen. A meeting was arranged for the stroke of midnight. When the Countess came disguised as the Queen, the jewelers relinquished the stunning necklace. The swindle was complete.
The diamond necklace affair, what it did was to bring into the open the frivolity and the extravagance and the life of the court at Versailles. It's very interesting.
Professor at the University of Southern California, Dr. A. Lloyd Moot.
The diamond incident is probably the most spectacular of all the events at the court during this period of time in the image of people. It's a glamorous event. It has cloak and dagger elements. It has love elements, scandalous elements.
In a sense, what we have is a dramatic event, which in itself does not create the French Revolution. No one event can create something like that. But it does crystallize opinion for and against, in this case, largely against an entire regime.
Years later, Napoleon would write that the diamond necklace was the trigger that set off the French Revolution. When the jewelers presented their bill to King Louis, he naturally refused to pay. It might all have ended there if he hadn't made a fateful error. He insisted the courts publicly try the villains. By calling attention to the necklace, Louis helped cause his own downfall. And what happened to the necklace itself? It disappeared from the French court forever. The diamonds were broken down and sold separately. Today, they are once again scattered throughout the world. We wonder what curse, if any, they have cast upon their new owners. In 1958, the United States established its first national collection of gems. It is housed at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. Today, the undisputed star of that collection is the Hope Diamond. Curator Paul Desautels adds an unexpected chapter to the Hope's recent history.
It has brought only good luck to the National Collection. It's a remarkable thing, and people come from all over the country to see it. As a matter of fact, when I say people, I mean lots of people, millions of people, and I can't blame them. It is a fantastic stone.
Perhaps the ancient gods have been appeased and have at last withdrawn the diamond curse.